Imagine receiving a voicemail from your future self, a voice that sounds exactly like you, same tone, same breath, but it's warning you about something you don't understand. He tried to warn himself, but it was already too late. Before we go deeper, comment below. What would you do if your future self sent you a message? It started with a voicemail at 2:13 a.m., no caller ID, no number, nothing but this message. Don't go out on September 14th. Please, you don't understand. The voice. It wasn't just familiar, it was his. The whisper was distorted, almost mechanical, but the terror in it was real. Don't go out. September 14th. He woke up, grabbing his phone from the nightstand. The screen was cold, showing the missed call notification. He played it again and again. It was his voice, no doubt. The same way he sounded when he was scared, but how? Who could possibly mimic his voice so perfectly? A friend playing a prank? Some new AI voice cloning app? He scrolled through his call log looking for the number, but there was nothing. Just a blocked ID and a timestamp that made his stomach drop. It was impossible, but there it was. He tried calling the number back, but the call wouldn't connect. Just an endless, silent void. He spent the rest of the night staring at the ceiling, the chilling words echoing in his mind. The city outside was quiet, blanketed in a thick, eerie fog that seemed to swallow the streetlights. His apartment, once a sanctuary, now felt like a cage. He replayed the message one more time, the voice's desperation sending a shiver down his spine. He had no idea what was waiting for him on September 14th, but a cold dread began to settle deep within him. At first, he thought it was a prank. It had to be, until he checked the metadata. The voicemail was marked as recorded 3 days in the future, and the system log listed the sender as unknown temporal error. His phone carrier had no explanation. They ran diagnostics, checked the network logs, and found nothing. No record of an incoming call, no data packet, nothing. It was as if the voicemail had materialized out of thin air, a digital ghost in his device. He spent hours online, digging through tech forums and obscure blogs, searching for anything similar. He found stories about time slips, temporal paradoxes, and glitched signals, but they were all just theories, campfire tales for the digital age. This felt different. This was real. He could feel it. The message wasn't just a random error, it was a targeted warning. His own voice, from a time that hadn't happened yet, was telling him something terrible was coming. The proof was right there on his screen, a string of impossible code that defied all logic. But this was just the beginning. The next night his phone buzzed again. Another message. Every night, another message. Each one more desperate. You need to listen, they're watching you. If you go outside on the 14th, I won't be able to help you again. His future self was pleading, terrified, begging him to stay inside, but he still had no idea what was coming. The voice on the recordings grew more frantic. It sounded strained, out of breath, as if he was running from something. In one message, he could hear a strange, high-pitched hum in the background, a sound that made the hair on his arms stand up. In another, there was nothing but heavy breathing for 30 seconds, followed by a whispered, "They're almost here." He started to lose sleep. Every shadow in his apartment seemed to move. Every creak of the floorboards sounded like footsteps. He covered his webcam, unplugged his smart devices, and lived in a state of constant paranoia. The messages weren't just warnings anymore. They were a countdown. Why would you fear your future self? He was supposed to be him, just later. What could possibly happen in the next few days to turn him into this panicked, terrified stranger? The thought kept him awake, night after night, as the 14th drew closer. On the 13th the messages stopped. Silence. The quiet was somehow more terrifying than the nightly warnings. He thought the warnings were over. Maybe he had done something right. Maybe his future self was finally safe. He spent the day pacing his apartment, jumping at every sound. The rain outside lashed against the windows, a relentless rhythm that matched the frantic beating of his heart. He watched the clock on the wall, each tick a hammer blow counting down the final hours. He thought about leaving, just running away. But where would he go? The message had been clear. Don't go outside. As night fell, the silence became unbearable. He kept checking his phone, but there was nothing. No calls, no new voicemails. A small, foolish part of him started to hope it was all over. Until 10:46 p.m., when he received one final voicemail. He hesitated, his thumb hovering over the play button. His hands were shaking. He took a deep breath and pressed play. In it, his future self whispered, "They found me. Don't make the same mistake." Then a loud thud, a scream, and the message cuts out. His phone slipped from his grasp, clattering to the floor, the screen cracking into a spider web of shattered glass. What do you think happened to him? Comment your theory below. He stayed home, locked every door, turned off every light. He sat in the darkness, the silence of his apartment now a heavy, suffocating blanket. September 14th had arrived. He had listened. He had stayed inside, just like the messages begged him to. But at 12:03 a.m., his apartment power went out. A sudden, complete blackout. The emergency lights in the hallway flickered and died. He was plunged into absolute darkness. His heart pounded in his chest. And then, a single point of light pierced the gloom. His phone screen, it lit up by itself. A new voicemail notification appeared. its glow eerie in the pitch-black room, recorded at a time that hadn't happened yet. Voicemail, 12:45 a.m. pending. He stared at it, frozen. How could there be a message from the future if the future him was gone? But he never heard that message. Because at 12:12 a.m., as he sat paralyzed in his locked apartment, he disappeared, vanished without a sound, without a trace, from inside a room that was sealed from the inside. To this day, no one knows what happened. The police found an empty apartment. Doors locked, windows shut, phone on the floor with a cracked screen. No signs of forced entry, no signs of a struggle. He was just gone. But the strange part, his phone still receives voicemails. Every few weeks a new one appears, from the same unknown sender, with the same temporal error in the metadata. Only now the voice on the recordings isn't him anymore, it's something else, something cold and unfamiliar. If you ever receive a message from your future self, don't ignore it. Like, subscribe, and comment your theory, and check the pinned comment for the link we left for you.